Well, fuck, one away again. I mean, we'll run it back in the playoffs, but this has been the toughest major I've seen in my life, I gotta say. But yeah, no, stage 3, I think, didn't have that many upsets. I just got a bit unlucky with some of the picks, I'd say. But okay, we'll get to all that. We'll get to all that. Let's start with a stage 3 recap, as I usually do. First of all, Spirit and Furia going 3-0. Congrats to them. Furia is looking like the best team in the world right now for sure. Spirit looked pretty solid here as well. I think it's not shocking if we see these two square off in the final. I think a big thing for Spirit is how Tenir and Zwei will be looking. I would say they are looking better with time. But I don't know. We'll see if they are good enough for playoffs here, because this is now, we got like the most stacked playoff ever. And as for Furia, I think if Cacerato can keep playing the way he's been playing, they are going to win this tournament for sure. I mean, having him back in form is insanely good for them, because recently it's been a bit of a Molodoi show, but throughout this stage 3, Cacerato really played super well. And of course, Yuri, Kinder and Fallen are all pulling their weight, none of them are falling behind. So as long as this stays true, I think they have everything they need to win this event. Now as for the next few teams, disclaimer, I didn't see the games on day 3. I didn't see the 2-1 and 1-2 matches. Other than 3D Max Face, I did find time to watch that one, but the rest of them I didn't. So I don't know exactly how these games looked on that day. But based on the previous days, Mouse looked very solid. And they also beat Falcons here, who didn't look bad, honestly. I mean, Monacy was underperforming, from what I heard. Although on the last day he woke up. Again, we'll get to Falcons. Now Vitality, they lost to FaZe in the first game. I don't know if it's a sign to worry. I mean, they absolutely smacked around some teams like 3D Max and Bait. And yeah, the win against Navi, I think, gains them a lot of their credibility back, but I don't think they are the favorites here at all now. It's definitely Furia at this point. I would even go as far as to say that probably Spirit is more of a favorite than Vitality. And the Mongols, I mean, I think the biggest thing for the Mongols is Controls playing extremely well. The thing I was worried about and why I didn't put them in my pickem is because I was worried about Controls just crumbling under pressure, but he's really shown that he can handle it. He's really been impressive here. And he's been probably the best replacement for Senzu they could dream of. And then the 3-2 teams, Navi, FaZe and Falcons. I mean, as for Navi, they haven't really beaten anyone who is too strong during this major, I think Farivision is their most impressive win, and Farivision in that game was kind of mentally collapsed after the Mouse game, I think. Again, we'll get to Farivision because I have some things to say about them. I mean, Water Run anyways, but yeah, I'll have some things to say. Nonetheless, Navi, I'm not feeling too good about Navi after this stage. Even though Wonderful is playing well, which I would say before the major, I would say Wonderful playing well is their win condition here. But I mean, they weren't able to beat Furia. I mean, they got destroyed by Furia. They weren't able to beat Vitality, although it was a close game. So like, I think they could beat some of the weaker teams, but their first game is against Furia. I mean, yeah, we'll get to it in the pickem, but I don't think Navi's making it. FaZe decided to show up, that's for sure. They did crumble against Mongols and Spirit. They did choke those games heavily. Then they had a very nice recovery against 3D Max. And that game against Passion, it doesn't fill me with confidence. I mean, Passion looked terrible throughout this event. And FaZe just kinda couldn't close out the game. They couldn't beat them as easily as I think they should be able to. And even though it was a 2-0 in the end, I don't really feel inspired by that result. They just let too many rounds slip, in my opinion, and I don't think they're gonna be making it far into the playoffs, unfortunately. If I was going with my heart, I'd be putting them as the winners here, but unfortunately, in the pickup, I'm going to be going with logic, so I don't think they have a big chance. And Falcons, I think for Falcons, the biggest asset has been definitely Kyosuke. Now, obviously, Monacy waking up is great and all, but there's been this narrative after the G2 game that, oh, Monacy playing well is why they made it. No, Kyosuke had a positive rating on Inferno. This is why they made it. This is why they beat G2. And Kyosuke has been their best player, and if he keeps playing the way he is playing, and Monacy can keep up, we have a new contender on our hands, I think. As much as I hate to admit it. Now, the eliminated teams. First of all, the Zero Freeze and Liquid. Fuck you, Liquid. Honestly, I'm definitely making a video on Liquid. I don't know what's wrong with this org. Not even with the team, not with the players. No, what's wrong with this org? People join it and they just suddenly become washed. Like, I don't understand it. Because I've got some ideas on what's wrong with the team, and I'm gonna talk about it in a video in the future. But it's like they have insane individuals. They shouldn't be performing like this, even with the issues they have like within the team. They shouldn't perform this poorly. Now, Parivision, the only disappointment I have with them is the 3D Max game. I think they should be sweeping 3D Max off the map, honestly. They were much better than 3D Max throughout this event, but in that 0-2 game, they just didn't handle the pressure. And I think that's what it came down to. I think it came down to a mental collapse after the Mouse overtime, because they almost beat Mouse in that first game. And I think if they beat Mouse, I think they go much further in this event. They would be playing B8, I'm pretty sure. And if they played B8, I think they have an easy 2-0 slot. And with that 2-0 slot, I think they are in a good position to win a game and go to the playoffs. But yeah, nonetheless, it's an insanely impressive run from them. I think the biggest like unsung heroes of this team are going to be AW and Nota. Because everybody's going to be looking at James, you know, his comeback story. Everybody's going to be looking at Jello and his performances. He's been incredible for sure, yeah. But Nora has been an amazing fragging IGL for them. Something I didn't even know at the start of the event is that Nora is at the IGL and not James actually. But yeah, Nora has been an amazing fragging IGL. And AW is playing the shittiest roles imaginable on most maps, and yet he still puts up pretty respectable stats, and the way he plays is the most important thing here, not the stats really. He's just an extremely smart player, and I won't be surprised to see him be one of the first guys to get poached from this team in case they do get poached, although I hope they stick together. I would love to see them play on in this roster. If Pari is not willing to pay them the big bucks, fucking get Gambit in here. Make Gambit by the roster. I don't know, is Gambit even still operating? I don't know, I think they are. Get some Russian org to buy them. Like, fuck it, the VP CEO said he never wanted James kicked. Sign the Parivision roster. The entirety of it. Like, okay, maybe replace Belchonok. Like, Belchonok, I think he's been like the most inconsistent part of this roster because he had games where he pops off. But there's been situations where I look at this team and I think to myself, well, there is a reason they failed. There has to be a reason. And I think Belchonok is kind of part of that reason. Not like it's his fault, but he's just not been the most consistent at times. Now for the 1-3 bracket we got Pain first, and Pain is a team that I had an issue with coming into this major, that they basically went with the strategy of just not playing any games between the majors, just keeping their points, which by the way is exactly what this new system was supposed to prevent, right? It was supposed to be, oh, you get this VRS ranking, so you have to play games in between the majors to make it there. But the thing is, Pain just kinda had enough points to just sit and do nothing, and you can't really punish that. I mean, they played like what? They played like 40 maps, I think, between the majors? Something like that. It is not a lot. Given that time, they at least played against some big teams and won some big games. I wouldn't care if they played few maps. But they played very few maps, and any big game they played, they lost. So I don't know why they were in this stage in the first place. They shouldn't have been. They should have had to start in stage 2 for sure. Imperial, I mean, fuck you Imperial again, honestly. Absolutely ruined my pickem. And all because Mongols couldn't hold their shit together for the first game. No, I mean, Imperial actually played pretty well in that game. But why did they only do it for one game then? Why couldn't you, like, I don't know, beat Falcons? Or beat fucking Passion UA? How did you lose to Passion UA, guys? Like... I just don't understand this, but yeah, whatever. I mean, they fluked the win against Mongols, really. 16-14, right? Was it 16-14? I think it was. I mean, I can just check. Yeah, it's 16-14. I mean, not the best game from Mongols. But, you know, can't say Imperial didn't deserve to win there. They did. It's just Mongols should have done better. And I've seen some crazy narratives, like Maui Snake was saying that Imperial is giving Legacy vibes. No, they are not. Legacy actually won against some real teams during their major run. Imperial? Who did Imperial have to face? The only real quote-unquote team they beat was this Mongols roster. But they also are technically playing with a sub. But that's like the only serious victory they had. The remaining games were all against like lower ranked teams that they just got matched up into based on pure luck, really. Well, I'm not gonna be crashing out about Imperial though. Let's go on to 3D Max. 3D Max, I think, should be satisfied. Or rather, you know what? I wouldn't say they should be satisfied. I'd say they met the community expectations, but they shouldn't be satisfied themselves. They should be hungry for more. They should think to themselves, well, we should have beaten FaZe. This is what 3D Max's approach should be here. And what do they need to do to achieve this? I don't know. I mean, probably make some roster changes. I don't know. I don't know who there is to sign really for them from the French tier 2 scene. I don't see anyone coming up. We'll see, I guess. And as for the 2-3, starting with Bait, I'm honestly a little bit disappointed they didn't make playoffs in the end. It would be funny to see them beat like a Navi or some other big team. I mean, they did beat Falcons, which I think was an amazing showing from them. But that Falcons game was really the last time they looked good. They just got destroyed afterwards. And, you know, they then beat Pain, and they kind of held their own against Navi. But yeah, it wasn't enough in the end. Unlucky. I think they should be very happy with this major, just like Parivision. Passion UA, another team that really annoys me, because like, they looked like the worst team at this major on day one. They looked worse than any stage 1 team, really. I'm gonna go as far as to say that I think the Huns would beat them on day 1 of stage 3. I think the Huns are beating Passion UA. But then they just go on and beat Liquid, beat Imperial, and actually put up a fight against FaZe. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about that. Does it speak more to their character? Does it speak to Liquid and Imperial's character and FaZe's, maybe? I don't know. Because I don't really think they improved that much against Liquid, actually. I haven't watched the Imperial game again, so I wouldn't know there. Against FaZe, they looked a little improved, but not to the point of getting 11-13 twice. Like, no. FaZe should have been closing out those games early. And Falcons versus G2 was just a horrible matchup for G2, let's be real. They just got some very tough games, right? Like, a lot of the other teams that made it into playoffs, a lot of them didn't actually have to win against, like, 3 high-level opponents. Meanwhile, G2, after having 2 easy games at the start, get matched up against Furia, then against Mongols, and then against Falcons. And you could argue, yeah, Mongols have a sub, they're not that strong. Okay, whatever. They still beat them. You could argue that Falcons weren't that strong because m0NESY was off his pace. Well, m0NESY stepped up against G2, so you can't really say that either. G2 just got a very tough draw. I think they would make playoffs in pretty much any other circumstance. You know, I think personally, even though I'm kind of rooting for FaZe, I think it would be more fair if we got like G2 versus FaZe or Falcons versus FaZe and the other team facing Passion. That would make for a more balanced draw at the end and definitely a more stacked playoff. I mean, FaZe is the weakest team right now. I think if G2 and Falcons were there instead of FaZe and Falcons, I think then the weakest team title would go to either Na'Vi or the Mongols, because again, Mongols have a sub still, right? Even with controls doing well, it's still a sub. All I can say about G2 is you should have kept snacks. And now, as for the playoffs, let's do the pickem a little quickly here, right? There's not that many games to wonder about, so let's just go through them. Spirit versus Falcons, and this is an interesting game actually, because this is Donk against Nico, and Nico historically did very well against Donk. And now with Kyosuke playing well and m0NESY also stepping up, this is a game where I think Falcons have a real chance to win. But, counterpoint, Spirit is looking very solid during this event. And I don't know, did Nico actually play against Spirit with Tnir and Zwei? Unless I'm misremembering some game that they played. I don't know. I'm gonna pick Spirit. I'm gonna say that Spirit... Oh, you don't drag it, you click it. Okay. I'm gonna say Spirit is the team that finally steps up here in this head-to-head, you know, between Donk and Nico. I'm gonna say that the Team Spirit players are going to step up and support Donk to the point of winning this game. But there is always a chance that Zwei just doesn't play well or Tnir chokes, and Kyosuke, m0NESY, and Nico just all turn up and Falcons win. There's a chance that happens, but I'm just gonna take a bit of a 50-50 here and go with Spirit. Now, Vitality against the Mongols, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I think Vitality have to win this one. I don't see another way. I think if Mongols win this one, Vitality needs to ring the alarm bells, because there is something going very wrong if you're losing against the Mongols without Senzu as a team like Vitality. And the crazy thing is, I don't think Vitality could make roster changes if they lose against the Mongols here, because their team is just way too good on paper. I don't know what they need to change. Maybe the coach. I don't personally have the most trust towards Extas, so who knows, maybe they need a breath of fresh air just tactically. Now, Furia versus Na'Vi is one of those games where I'm 100% sure that this has to be the result, which is what I always had with Imperial, so I'm a bit worried, you know, I was always like, oh, Imperial, they're the 100% 0-3 team. And they weren't. But in this case, I mean, Furia won against Na'Vi 13-2. Like, you could argue that, oh, Na'Vi lost, so they're gonna be able to improve more, but they lost 13-2. How much do you have to improve to win when you lost 13-2 in the first game? Yeah, I don't think this is happening. Also, it was only one map. Furia still have 2 more maps to win against them, even if they do lose on Dust. Was it Dust? I think it was Dust. Never mind. Furia is winning this one 100%. And this last game, again, I think Mouse is winning. I really want FaZe to win, and if they win, I won't be mad. But I seriously doubt FaZe can do anything against Mouse here. Yeah, I mean, all of the top seeds are just winning, in my opinion. So, you know, if any upsets happen, I'm gonna be incredibly screwed. I mean, if more than 2 upsets happen, I guess, right? Because I need to get 2 out of 4 correct. So I'm banking on Mouse and Furia winning as my 2 out of 4 correct guarantee. And if one of those 2 lose, I hope Vitality at least wins their game, so I can get the 2 out of 4 anyways. Spirit Falcons is like pretty much a 50-50, I'd say. This is the one that could ruin a lot of people. Now, in the semi, we get Spirit against Vitality. And I am actually tempted to pick Vitality here. Because here's the thing, I think Vitality also have a good matchup into Spirit, just like Falcons did. And while I do think Spirit can edge out a win over Falcons, just because Falcons is not as good of a team, I think Vitality is a good enough team to beat Spirit. So far, what is it, like 5-0 for ZywOo against Donk in direct matchups? Yeah, I think this continues if this matchup happens. And I think if Vitality face Falcons here, I also think Vitality can win here. Although the Vitality Falcons rivalry is a lot more back and forth than the Vitality Spirit one, I do think that Vitality might have the edge. And if they don't, you know, I'm gonna be banking on the other semifinal going my way, because in the other semifinal, I'm obviously picking Furia. So we're gonna end up with the most boring final possible from my picks, because it's just the 2 favorites really. The 2 teams that dominated this season, Vitality in the earlier part of the year, Furia in the second part of the year. And you know, I'm just gonna stick with the favorites here. I'm gonna say Furia win. I also want to see Furia win. I wanna see guys like Yekinder and Fallen lift another major. I wanna see Molodoi lift his rookie major. I mean, it would be amazing to see Molodoi lift his rookie major. Now, as for Mouse, because I didn't really talk about them, as for Mouse, my argument for Mouse is they have Torzi. So if they win, like, it's funny because Torzi, even though I'm a Mouse hater through and through, if they win here, it's fine though, because obviously Torzi probably really wants it in his hometown. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be it for my pickems. Just let me sync them, and there we go, picks placed. And that would be it for today. I'm gonna make a video very soon because a little game came out called Esports Manager 2026, so I kind of want to cover it. But yeah, as for my pickems, this is what it looks like, and well, whether it comes true or not, we'll see. Leave your pickems in the comments, and I hope you hear me in another video. Bye!